Ever been stuck in a crowded elevator? Now imagine that elevator going thousands of feet underwater. That's life on a submarine, folks. These steel beasts are marvels of engineering, no doubt. But let's be honest, they're also claustrophobic metal tubes hurtling through a dark and unforgiving world. Submariners are a different breed. They volunteer for a job where the air is recycled, the sun is a distant memory, and escape is often impossible. Think about that for a second. Imagine saying goodbye to your family knowing there's a real chance you might never hug them again. That's the reality these men and women face every single day. And the ocean? It's not exactly a welcoming place. It's cold, dark, and full of things that want to crush, eat, or simply ignore you until you fade away. Yet submariners willingly descend into this abyss. They patrol the depths, unseen and unheard, protecting our interests and keeping the world safe. So the next time you see a story about a submarine, remember the men and women inside. They're not just sailors, they're explorers, warriors, and heroes of the deep. Let's talk about pressure for a minute. Down in the ocean depths, the pressure is unbelievable. We're talking thousands of pounds per square inch. That's enough force to turn a steel drum into a crumpled soda can. Submarines are built tough, but even they have their limits. One tiny leak, one weak spot in the hull, and it's game over. The ocean doesn't care about your training or your courage. It's an unforgiving mistress. And the deeper you go, the more intense the pressure becomes. Imagine the weight of a skyscraper pressing down on you from all sides. That's what it's like down there. Now, imagine working, eating and sleeping with that kind of pressure just inches away from your face. Every creak, every groan of the submarine's hull is a reminder of the immense power lurking just outside. It takes a special kind of person to handle that kind of stress day in and day out. Submariners are the ultimate deep-sea divers. They face pressures that would make your bones scream. They do it in cramped quarters, surrounded by tons of machinery, knowing that one mistake could be their last. That's pressure on a whole other level. So we've got crushing pressure. What else? Oh, just the small matter of other submarines trying to sink you. Underwater warfare is a deadly game of cat and mouse. One minute you're hunting, the next you're being hunted. Sonar pings echo through the darkness, each one a potential threat. Is it a school of fish, a whale, or an enemy submarine armed and ready to strike? You never know for sure. And that uncertainty, that constant tension can wear a person down. Then there are the mines. These underwater bombs are silent killers, just waiting for an unsuspecting ship or submarine to cross their path. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and it's all over. It's like navigating a minefield in the dark. Except in this minefield, the mines are invisible and the darkness is absolute. It's a high-stakes game, and the consequences of failure are about as real as it gets. Lives are lost, ships are sunk, and the balance of power can shift in an instant. Submariners know this, yet they still answer the call to duty. They patrol the depths, guarding against threats seen and unseen, knowing that their vigilance is all that stands between us and chaos. The ocean is a graveyard of ships, and submarines are no exception. When things go wrong beneath the waves, they go wrong in a hurry. There's no calling for a tow truck, no sending out a distress signal that can reach the surface. When a submarine sinks, it often takes its entire crew with it. The Kursk disaster in 2000 is a chilling reminder of the risks these sailors face. The Russian submarine, a pride of their fleet, sank to the bottom of the Barents Sea after a catastrophic explosion. 118 souls perished, trapped in a steel coffin over 300 feet below the surface. The world watched in horror as rescue efforts proved futile. The icy grip of the ocean had claimed another victim, and the families of the Kursk's crew were left with nothing but grief and unanswered questions. These tragedies serve as a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of the deep and the sacrifices made by those who dare to venture beneath the waves. It's a dangerous business, this submarine life, but somebody's got to do it. And for that, we owe these brave men and women a debt of gratitude. Imagine living in a steel tube for months on end. No sunlight, no fresh air, just the constant hum of machinery and the recycled breath of your shipmates. That's life on a submarine. It's enough to drive anyone stir-crazy. Privacy is a luxury you can forget about. Personal space is limited to your bunk, which is about the size of a coffin. And you're constantly surrounded by the same faces, day in and day out. It takes a special kind of person to handle that kind of isolation, that level of intimacy with your fellow crewmates. You develop a different sense of time down there. Days bleed into weeks, weeks into months. The outside world fades away, becoming a distant memory. You miss birthdays, anniversaries, the birth of your children. You miss the simple things like feeling the sun on your face or the wind in your hair. It's enough to make you crack, and some do. The psychological toll of submarine life is immense. Claustrophobia, anxiety, depression, these are all occupational hazards. You're constantly on edge, constantly aware of the danger lurking just outside the hull. It's enough to make you question your sanity. Submarines are technological marvels. They're packed with more gadgets and gizmos than a James Bond movie. Sonar, radar, periscopes, torpedoes, these are just a few of the tools of the trade, and they're getting more sophisticated all the time. But with technology comes complexity, and with complexity comes the potential for things to go wrong. A software glitch, a sensor malfunction, a power outage, any one of these things can spell disaster for a submarine and its crew. Imagine being hundreds of feet underwater and the lights go out, or the engine shuts down, or the navigation system goes haywire. You're trapped in a steel box, surrounded by miles of water, and you're at the mercy of technology that you don't fully understand. It's enough to make you long for the simplicity of a sailboat. But there's no turning back. Submarine warfare is a high-tech game, and the stakes are only getting higher. The future of naval warfare is being fought beneath the waves, and the submarines of tomorrow will be even more advanced, even more deadly, and even more reliant on technology that we can barely comprehend today. Submarines are evolving. They're getting stealthier, faster, and more heavily armed. The diesel-electric subs of yesteryear are being replaced by nuclear-powered behemoths that can stay submerged for months at a time. We're talking about submarines that can launch cruise missiles from beneath the waves, striking targets hundreds of miles inland. Submarines that can deploy special forces teams on covert missions. Submarines that are essentially underwater aircraft carriers, capable of launching and recovering unmanned drones. The technology is mind-blowing, but it's also terrifying. The potential for destruction is enormous. And as these submarines become more sophisticated, they also become more vulnerable to cyber attacks. Imagine a scenario where an enemy nation could hack into a submarine's control systems, taking control of its weapons or even scuttling it from afar. The implications are chilling. The future of warfare is moving underwater and the stakes are higher than ever before. Submarines are going to play an even bigger role in the future of maritime security. They're the ultimate stealth weapon, capable of operating undetected in even the most contested waters. As tensions rise between nations, submarines will be on the front lines, gathering intelligence, projecting power, and if necessary, engaging in combat. We're talking about underwater drones that can patrol vast areas of the ocean autonomously, relaying information back to their motherships. We're talking about submarines armed with hypersonic missiles, capable of striking targets anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes. We're talking about a new era of undersea warfare, one that is both exhilarating and terrifying in its implications. The future of submarine warfare is going to be defined by cutting-edge technology, highly trained crews, and a constant game of cat and mouse beneath the waves. It's a world of stealth, secrecy, and the ever-present threat of sudden violence. It's a world that few of us will ever experience firsthand. But it's a world that we should all be aware of. Because what happens beneath the waves will shape the world above. So the next time you're at the beach, take a moment to think about what lies beneath the surface. Spare a thought for the brave men and women who patrol the depths in their steel coffins, facing unimaginable pressures and unseen dangers. They are the silent guardians of our oceans, the unseen protectors of our world. Their job is dirty, dangerous, and often thankless. But it's also vital to our national security and the stability of the planet. So, let's give them the respect they deserve. Let's remember the sacrifices they make, the risks they take, and the courage they display every single day. The next time you see a submarine movie, remember that it's not just entertainment. It's a glimpse into a world of extraordinary bravery, technological marvel, and the constant struggle between man and nature. It's a world that deserves our respect, our admiration, and our eternal gratitude.